Women's rugby has come on in leaps and bounds in recent years, and England's recent victory in the 2023 Six Nations serves as a clear indicator of the substantial improvements made in the sport over its 130-year history. To fully understand the scale of this growth, join us in this video as we look back into the history of women's rugby from the very beginning.
Time she used power. Ellie killed her.
Similar to the sport itself, the history of women in rugby is very vague. There is very little information on how and when women started playing rugby. One account regarding it is that in 1881, two teams played what was called exhibition football games in Scotland and Northern England, though several of these games had to be abandoned due to rioting against women playing contact sports. But while most of these games played in 1881 appeared to have been played to the new association football rules, according to the Liverpool Mercury of June 27, 1881, at least one of these games involved scoring goals following touchdowns. Therefore, it may have been played to at least a version of rugby rules. Besides this account, another one, which is most popular, was that around 1884, Portora Royal School in Enniskillen in Ireland formed the school's first rugby team, which included a young woman called Emily Valentine, making her the first official woman to play rugby. Emily practiced with the team, and in 1887 she played for the school, scoring a try. Furthermore, in 1891, there's a record of an attempt at a women's touring team in New Zealand. However, this was stopped due to social unacceptance, and the team was forced to disband. There were also reports of women playing rugby in France in 1908 and England in 1913, but in both cases, the game was played behind closed doors. The turning point came in 1917, when Cardiff Arms Park hosted the first documented official charity match, featuring female teams, Cardiff Ladies and Newport Ladies. However, the sport remained largely underground until the aftermath of World War II, when changing roles for women catalyzed the establishment of women's rugby. In 1962, Edinburgh University marked a milestone with the formation of the first recorded women's rugby union team, while Toulouse Femina Sports in France hosted the first fully documented women's club match. The post-war era saw significant strides as the AFRF, the first national association for women's rugby union, emerged. Women's rugby unions sprouted in universities across Canada, the USA, the Netherlands, and Spain. By 1978, Canada and the Netherlands pioneered non-university rugby clubs, setting the stage for the global development of women's rugby. The first women's rugby international tournament held was the Rugby Fest in 1990 in the Netherlands. A variety of club sides, including a team from Japan, not the Japanese national team, participated in the tournament along with 4 national teams: USA, New Zealand, USSR, and the Netherlands. The winner was New Zealand. Rugby Fest 1990 marked a significant moment that paved the way for the first Women's Rugby World Cup in Wales the following year. Even though the event coincided with the second Men's World Cup in England, World Rugby, then known as the International Rugby Football Board, did not officially endorse it. This led to New Zealand's Rugby Football Union hesitating to support their team's entry. Nevertheless, New Zealand, alongside teams from Wales, the United States, England, France, Canada, Sweden, USSR, Japan, Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands participated. Despite financial challenges, with Russian players selling souvenirs to cover expenses and England administrators remortgaging their houses, the competition went ahead. After 15 matches, the first world champions emerged, the United States, who triumphed over England in the final. Despite minimal support from the men's game and limited media coverage, the first Women's Rugby World Cup was a success, marking a crucial step in the growth of women's rugby. Since then, the Women's Rugby World Cup has become a quadrennial tradition that endures to this day. With the success of the 1991 World Cup, women's rugby underwent widespread acceptance, leading to women's versions of other major rugby tournaments.
New Zealand then, the champions lead.
The Women's Five Nations emerged in 1999, evolving into the current Six Nations, featuring prominent international rugby union teams such as England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Italy, and France. Now, in the world today, women's rugby is experiencing a major spike in popularity, with participation rates increasing at an exponential rate. Female participation in rugby has soared to unprecedented levels, boasting a global player base of 2.7 million. The sport is now played in over 50 countries worldwide, continues to grow rapidly, and has passed the milestone of having played 1,000 international test matches, earning itself the title of the world's fastest-growing sport in recent years. Over a quarter of the entire playing population is now female, reflecting a substantial 28% surge in registered players since 2017. This increase can be attributed to various factors. One of them is the surge in publicity. This has been instrumental in elevating women's rugby to new heights, with extensive coverage in news articles and dedicated segments on sports channels like Sky Sports. The pinnacle of this recognition came when the Women's Rugby World Cup secured a primetime slot on ITV, underscoring the sport's mainstream appeal. The surge in the popularity of women's rugby is also underpinned by the launch of World Rugby Women's Plan 2021-25, a program aimed at strengthening and growing the sport to counter the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Third element we want to work on is the area of engagement, and in particular how we engage audiences around the world.
The empowering Try and Stop Us campaign also contributed to the growth of the sport. Not only are more women joining the rugby field, but there's also a rise in women taking on roles in rugby management. A noteworthy shift is that 1/3 of the representatives on the World Rugby Council are now female. This significant presence ensures that women actively contribute to crucial decisions, playing a vital role in shaping the future trajectory of the sport. This commitment to inclusivity and representation reflects a resounding dedication to fostering continued growth and diversity within the realm of rugby. Also, rugby's inclusion in the Olympics, with both male and female competitions, marked a significant milestone in 2016 at the Rio Olympics. This achievement not only bestowed global recognition, but also served as a catalyst for increased participation, inspiring women to engage with rugby. As rugby continues to make its mark on the Olympic stage, the sport is poised to attract a broader audience and foster greater involvement from future generations. Since the first tournament to the present, the standard in women's rugby has rapidly increased. Younger and stronger players push to the very best of their abilities. For example, one of England's most impressive and highest achieving players, Heather Fisher,
Textbook tackle technique. Oh, get out of the way.
set a standard like no other for future female rugby players to achieve. Heather Fisher is a truly remarkable individual. She earned her first international cap in rugby union in 2009, was a member of England's 2014 World Cup winning squad, and went on to represent Team GB in Rugby Sevens at the Olympics in Rio 2016. The likes of Heather Fisher abound in her team and several other national teams. One such player is Emily Scarratt, who earned comparisons to Brian O'Driscoll when she first burst onto the test scene as an 18-year-old in 2008.
Oh, and she struck that really nicely, Hez.
Scoring 12 tries in as many games. Ever since, she has ruthlessly stamped her own brand on the women's game. Crowned as the world's best player in 2019, her career has been peppered with individual moments of class, showcasing her versatility at outside center. Jessie Tremelaire from France is another exceptional player the rugby world has seen. Jessie, who hung up her boots in international rugby in May after her 78th and final cap against England in TikTok Women's Six Nation in 2023, was crowned World Rugby Women's 15's Player of the Decade in partnership with Tudor in 2020 by public approval.
And in the lead.
This followed her earlier achievement as World Rugby Women's 15's Player of the Year in 2018 in association with MasterCard. Despite facing 24 defeats, Tremelaire celebrated victory in 53 matches with the French women's team, solidifying her status as one of the sport's all-time greats. Besides these women's efforts to cement women's rugby as a game worth tuning in for with their electrifying performances, the teams, both local and international, have achieved significant milestones in compensating the efforts of their players. In January 2019, every member of the England women's rugby team received full-time contracts for the new season, making them the first women's rugby team in the world to go fully professional. Another turning point for the sport was when the Josephine Sakar-sponsored Australian Super League became one of the first major sponsors for the female sport. As many players often go unpaid during games, this is a massive step to ensure that all members of female teams in the future get paid for their participation in the sport, just like the male teams. Since then, women's rugby has garnered sponsorship from a diverse array of companies, including MasterCard, TikTok, and Guinness. The rise of women's rugby stands as a testament to the remarkable journey of female athletes who have overcome historical challenges and societal perceptions. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe to this channel for more amazing content on the rugby world.